After an extended period of empire building that ultimately cost the company dearly, the Old Mutual Group began rationalizing and divesting businesses in order to create a more focused and efficient company. Many investors participated in the recovery, and now the company is going on to the front foot with the announcement that they've acquired a distribution capability in South America. Now, here to discuss this and other issues within the insurance industry is Ndina Rabali, financial analyst at Standard. Before we get into Old Mutual, Ndina, I wanted to first take a helicopter look, if you like, at the insurance industry in South Africa. Now, we had news that Moody's has downgraded the outlook for South African banks, and I was wondering, there was no mention of the insurers. Are they out of it, or are they in a better space, according to Moody's, to be unaffected by the action that they took on the banks?
I think they are slightly in a better space, because we have to realize that since 2008, we've had significant positive equity markets, and quite a lot of value from the insurance companies is extracted from the level of equity markets in terms of the fees you charge and in terms of investment portfolios. So as equity markets continue to perform quite well, you find that balance sheets become bloated, and as a result, most of the insurers are sitting with quite healthy levels of capital, even surplus capital, which for some shareholders are sort of demanding that they retain some of that capital.
Okay, so let's move on to Old Mutual. They're getting into South America. Now they are truly sprawling across the world, if you like. They are in Europe, as we know. They are here, they were born here, and now they've gone into South America. The rationale for going to South America for you, that makes sense?
It does. It's a very good move, in my opinion, because you must realize that post-2008, shareholders have been demanding that management focus more on emerging markets where competition is less, margins are higher. Maybe the volumes are not there, but it's a much better environment to operate in.
You go with them.
And I go with them. So relative to where they were trying to go into the UK, into the US and Europe, those are quite tough environments to operate in. So the distribution capability they've acquired, which gives them access to distribution across South America, I think it's a very good move, which for me signals a very good intention from management in terms of strategy.
Ndina, how capital intensive is this expansion? Because we saw them expand sort of the last time round, where they went into, as you mentioned, Europe and North America and bought businesses. How capital intensive is this going to be for Old Mutual, and are there any plans to expand into other emerging markets in the near future?
Fortunately enough, I think management have learned from their previous experience in terms of the capital intensity required in your expansion plan. So this acquisition they've made in South America is quite capital light, and most of the products that they're going to initially sell in that geography will also be capital light. So, it's something that they've learned from history that, betting the ship, as you can say, does not really work. So you need to sort of start off on a low foot and then sort of learn your way around how to operate in those environments, and then maybe take a bigger investment down the line.
Yeah. Has this action changed your outlook and also your rating on the stock?
Not really. I mean, I've always been positive on Old Mutual since the change in strategy. I mean, Latin America is still a very meaningless business in terms of earnings for the business. But what it does do is that it solidifies the thinking around management's new strategy and how they aim to deliver value for shareholders going forward.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Let's talk Discovery, and I want you to then at the end of this pick up the winner, because we want to know where actually your money is going. So you like Old Mutual. Let's move on to Discovery. Yeah. Innovator, always right from the beginning and continuing to expand. The franchise continues to be liked wherever these guys go. What's your view on Discovery as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, Discovery is quite a tough one because, as you say, they're very good in terms of innovating, very good brand. The products are quite well liked in the market. But the problem is, if you look quite closely at their results and their financials, their cash position and cash generation is not quite healthy. So you've got that conundrum where you've got very good products, but you need capital to grow, which it's quite tough to make a call on Discovery. But yeah, those are the two issues that I play within that business.
Are there specific reasons why that excellent? They've been very innovative, as you've mentioned. And they've got fantastic products, and they've been able to cross-sell the products to their client base quite effectively, as I understand it. Why aren't they generating so much cash? Is it also the story of those expansions that they've made into the UK coming into play and those being quite expensive and taking a long time to try and get traction, or is it just really domestic issues that are preventing cash flow?
It's largely a product issue, because an insurance product, I mean, if I sell an insurance product to Godfrey, I want a commission. And that's very expensive. You need to fund commissions when you sell products. So we've basically seen that, I mean, over the past 5-6 years, Discovery has had exceptional growth in terms of selling these insurance products, but you need to fund those commissions. And that's where the capital intensity comes through. And that's where Discovery sort of, in my mind, struggles to get the cash flow to fund those commissions and those distribution costs. So it's largely a product issue in the insurance space.
One of the issues I picked up in the last set of results was, they are in Ping An, right, in China. And they are saying here they wrote the most new business in the group high end of the market in the period. I'd imagine when anyone talks about China, everyone gets excited because of the large size of the population there.
Yeah, I mean, the issue around China is, I think you have to put into context in terms of what they're investing in and what they're trying to do there.
Right.
So they're trying to play in the health insurance space in China, which is a market that is still quite underdeveloped. And the problem with that market is that in order to price a product, a health insurance product, you need quite extensive data. You need data to show you, are people quite sickly? Is the disease burden quite high or not? And if you don't have that data, you won't be able to set premium levels at the right level. So it's still quite an underdeveloped market segment in China. The infrastructure, the support services, your hospitals, etc., everything still needs to be developed. So Discovery have taken sort of a long-term view, a 10 to 15-year view, which if it comes through, because of the population size, like you say, it could be very profitable for them. But in the meantime, given where the market is overall in the health insurance space in China, it's still largely one for the future.
Okay, we've got two stocks that we need to get through. We've got MMI and we've got, of course, Santam. Santam are the bigger boys within the South African space, at least in the short-term industry. When you look at those two, make a comparison for us.
Well, MMI is more in your insurance space, so compared to your mutuals, your Sanlams, your Discoveries, and Santam is largely in the short-term insurance space. And it's quite difficult to get a listed peer, because I think Santam remains the only listed short-term insurance play. But unfortunately, it's largely held by Sanlam. So, I mean, Santam has been operating in a very sweet spot over the past.
Would you buy more of it if it were available? Would you recommend that investors take more?
Look, it's a very good business. It's probably the biggest and most dominant short-term insurer in the country. They've got the best distribution capability of all the short-term insurers. As you know, as to whether the price is correct or not, I've got my reservations. But strategy-wise and product-wise, it's an excellent business to have.
So just to sum it up for us, Ndina, just to get perspective on the valuation, because as you say, there's always a disconnect sometimes between the quality of the business and the price. Who offers, if any of them, offers the most value at this point in the sector?
Yeah, it's quite a tough call to make, because I mean, if you look at over the past 9 months, all of them have done very well. I mean, all the insurance sectors stocks have given you more than 30% total return for the year to date. They've done very well. But in my mind, I think Old Mutual still could give you significant value on a relative basis relative to the other insurers, because I still think if management divests fully from the developed market businesses, that should divest. I'm hoping that in 5 years' time we'll have a business that's focused in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, with high returns on capital and high margins and good growth prospects. So I think that if that strategy plays out, then that could deliver good value for shareholders.
And then bring back the capital, the headquarters back to South Africa. It's cheaper here to run a headquarters than in London.
Hopefully. I mean, they've got massive head office costs in London, but I mean, that's all speculation for now.
Who are you recommending that this guy, who do you recommend investors sell amongst the stock that we spoke about today?
It's quite a tough one. Look, I don't want to alienate myself with most of the management teams, but yeah, look, let me not answer that one for now.
Just you mentioned the total return they've enjoyed. I think a lot of that total return's been from dividends. Are you expecting? I think some of them, like MMI, are still trading at dividend yields of of 6%. Do you expect a growth in dividends going forward?
Very quickly, Nida.
Yeah, I mean, the dividend yield story is very good. Obviously, your earnings growth might be quite subdued relative to other sectors over the next 3 years, but your earnings, your dividends should be quite sticky. So I expect the current dividends to be maintained. And if anything, I mean, everyone was calling for more special dividends. And yeah, we'll see whether that plays out. But dividend yields should be maintained.